I grew up in a city, and I lived at the end of a dead-end street. You had neighbor on top of neighbor, and everything in your neighborhood that was readily convenient, but not a lot of privacy.
So I've spent 21 years of my life living in a small town. It has its ups and downs, but I always come back.
Growing up in a city was a lot different than growing up in a small town because of the constant noise that was around. We lived off of a state highway, so you had constant noise from cars and trucks and motorcycles racing down the highway.
Quiet's good most of the time. Sometimes there's a little bit of loneliness, but there's always someone to talk to.
We moved to a small town because we were looking for more land, more space, not being able to look into our neighbor's window from our window.
It can be a bit tricky sometimes because it feels like everybody knows your business and everybody constantly knows what you're up to, and small town gossip travels quickly. But for the most part, it's great because you have this real sense of community and family around you without having to go too far.
Living in a small town, you don't have the same amenities as you would typically have in a larger city, but you learn to live your life, or you learn to adapt so that you can pick up things that you need on your way home.
It's beautiful where we live. I think that it offers you a great opportunity to kind of find yourself and explore the world and explore the nature around you.
I very much enjoy living in a small town. What I enjoy about it most is probably that sense of neighborhood and getting to know the people that live in your town, and almost considering everybody in the town a friend or a neighbor, or if something happens, everybody's willing to step up and help or support that other person as best they can because everybody knows everybody.
I feel like it's important to go travel and go somewhere else sometimes just to see the outside world and not stay concealed in one place your whole life.
I've always felt this urge to leave, though. As much as I love it here and as much as I love the nature around me and the beautiful valley that I live in, I've always felt this urge to travel and go to cities and get out of town and, go explore the world.
One of the bigger changes you notice when you move to a small town is you rediscover the moon. When you live in the big city, there are constant street lights and backyard lights and sidewalk lights that don't allow you to see the stars and the moon like you do when you live in a small town away from the big city.
I'm very lucky to live where I live, which is so funny to think about because as a kid, it's just home. You never think about how lucky you are to live where you live until you grow up and realize that people, try to escape the cities and drive for hours just to come, get a smell of the woods and the pine.
I can go out for a morning run or a walk. I can go 4 miles and never see a car pass me.
Having lived in a small town for over 30 years now, I'm not certain I could ever go back to living in the city.
I used to describe where I live as the middle of nowhere, which is kind of sad because I feel like rural towns don't get enough credit. They're definitely somewheres.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something different when you live on a dirt road.